It was a day that started like any other, until the internet began to break. People woke up, checked their phones, and found their favorite apps and websites offline. The culprit? A massive outage at Amazon Web Services, or AWS. Suddenly, millions realized just how much of the digital world depends on a few giant companies. AWS isn't just a website, it's the backbone for countless businesses, from streaming giants to small online shops. When AWS falters, it's like an earthquake shaking the entire internet. This outage was a wake-up call, exposing the fragility of our digital infrastructure. It forced everyone, businesses and individuals alike, to rethink how much we rely on a single provider. The event wasn't just a technical hiccup, it was a story about our deeply connected lives. From ordering food to working remotely, our routines depend on cloud services. The AWS outage revealed the invisible threads tying our digital experiences together. Understanding this event helps us see the vulnerabilities in our online world. It's a lesson in modern infrastructure. Today's cities are built not just on roads and bridges, but on digital foundations. Cloud services like AWS are now as essential as electricity or water. When they fail, the impact is immediate and widespread. This story will explore what happened, who was affected, and what we can learn to build a stronger digital future. The day the internet stood still was more than a glitch. It was a turning point. Let's dive into how it all unfolded. The trouble began quietly in Amazon's US East 1 data center in Northern Virginia. At first, it was just a few glitches, smart home devices not connecting, streaming services showing errors. But these small issues quickly snowballed into a full-blown crisis. The root cause: a failure in Amazon's core network equipment, creating a massive digital traffic jam. Data couldn't reach its destination, and services relying on AWS began to topple like dominoes. The timing made it worse. Morning on the US East Coast, peak internet usage. Work tools like Slack went down, students lost access to online classes, and even Amazon's own delivery systems ground to a halt. The outage wasn't just digital, it disrupted real-world logistics and commerce. To make matters worse, Amazon's own status dashboard failed, leaving businesses in the dark. Companies couldn't get updates or explain the outage to their customers. The interconnected nature of the internet meant a single failure rippled everywhere. Frustration mounted as people waited for answers. The digital world was paralyzed, highlighting just how fragile our systems can be. This was more than a technical problem. It was a chain reaction with real consequences. The world watched, waiting for the first signs of recovery. The list of affected services was staggering. Disney Plus and Netflix left millions without entertainment. Slack's outage silenced workplace communication, halting productivity. The Associated Press went dark, disrupting news delivery worldwide. Smart home devices like Ring doorbells and Roomba vacuums stopped working, leaving homes less secure and less convenient. Dating apps like Tinder and Hinge failed, and cryptocurrency exchanges like Coinbase froze, causing stress for users and traders. Everyday life, from streaming and working to dating and trading, was suddenly interrupted. The outage exposed just how deeply AWS is woven into our digital routines. It wasn't just websites going offline, it was a disruption of daily life. The reach of AWS touched nearly every corner of the internet. Why did one outage cause so much chaos? It's all about the cloud. AWS is like a massive digital landlord, renting space and tools to millions of companies. This centralization is efficient, but it creates a single point of failure. The US East 1 region is especially popular, so when it went down, so did hundreds of thousands of services. In the past, each company ran its own servers. Failures were isolated. Now, the internet is built on a few giant platforms. If one stumbles, everyone feels it. The AWS outage was a stark reminder of this risk. Our jobs, education, finances, and even safety now depend on the cloud. When the foundation cracks, the whole structure shakes. The promise of the cloud is power and simplicity, but the risk is widespread failure. As soon as the outage hit, Amazon's engineers sprang into action. The challenge? Their own tools for diagnosing the problem were also down. It was like fighting a fire with a broken hose. They traced the issue to an automated process that disrupted a core network component. Fixing it required a slow, careful restoration. Rushing could have made things worse. Engineers brought systems back online step by step, monitoring stability at every turn. Updates trickled out, but details were scarce and timelines unclear. For millions waiting, it was agonizing. After hours of work, Amazon stabilized the network. Services began to return, and the digital traffic jam started to clear. The immediate crisis was over, but the recovery was just beginning. The internet exhaled, but scars remained. The race to restore service showed just how complex and delicate these systems are. Even after the main issue was fixed, problems lingered. The internet isn't a light switch, it's a web of systems that need time to recover. Many apps and services had to be manually restarted, causing a second wave of smaller outages. Some databases crashed under the backlog of requests, creating new headaches. Amazon's delivery network faced delays, with packages stuck and drivers behind schedule. The digital outage created real-world problems that took days to resolve. Amazon published a detailed report, admitting an automated system triggered the error. They promised new safeguards and better monitoring to prevent a repeat. The event forced companies to rethink their own disaster plans. The fix was just the start. Rebuilding trust and resilience would take much longer. The aftermath proved that digital recovery is never instant. The outage wasn't just technical, it disrupted daily life for millions. Remote workers lost access to essential tools, stalling projects and meetings. Families had to find new ways to entertain kids without streaming services. Smart home users felt vulnerable, unable to monitor their homes. Even simple chores like running a Roomba became impossible. Small businesses lost sales, and gig workers missed out on wages. The outage created stress, uncertainty, and a sense of helplessness. People realized how much they depend on digital services for work, security, and connection. The emotional toll was real, even if the problems weren't life-threatening. The event was a wake-up call about our digital dependence. When the cloud goes down, modern life grinds to a halt. The human impact was a powerful reminder of technology's reach. The AWS outage exposed the internet's hidden weakness: centralization. We imagine the web as decentralized, but most of it runs on a few giant cloud providers. It's like a city relying on a single water pipeline. Efficient, but risky if it breaks. The outage showed that no matter how well designed an app is, it's only as strong as its foundation. This sparked tough conversations about balancing efficiency with resilience. Trust in these systems is crucial, but a single failure can shake that trust. Businesses must rethink putting all their eggs in one basket. The event was a metaphor for our interconnected world, powerful, but vulnerable at key points. We've built a digital giant, but its strength is concentrated in a few places. The outage was a stress test, revealing a fundamental vulnerability. It's a warning. We must address these weak spots before the next failure. The lesson is clear: resilience matters as much as innovation. To prevent another internet meltdown, we must learn from this outage. Companies should adopt multi-cloud strategies, spreading services across AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud. This adds complexity and cost, but it's insurance against a single point of failure. Geographic distribution is also key. Backups in multiple regions help services recover faster. Don't put all your digital eggs in one basket. For everyday users, awareness is vital. Have offline backups for critical info, and choose tech that works locally if the cloud fails. Cloud providers must keep improving, making sure their own tools can't be taken down by the same problems they're meant to fix. Building more segmented, resilient infrastructure is essential. The future of the internet depends on shared responsibility. Companies must build robust apps, and cloud providers must strengthen their foundations. The AWS outage was a warning shot. If we heed its lessons, we can build a digital world that's both powerful and resilient. The next outage doesn't have to be a disaster, if we prepare now.